The baby I'm carrying is yours!
Caleb stopped. Skylar leaned close to my ear, barely containing her delight.
Summer, if you're going to aim high, at least pick a target you can reach. Caleb Westbrook isn't a man you can lash onto.
She wasn't wrong. Everyone in Crestmont knew Caleb Westbrook didn't touch women. The signet ring on his finger carried its own message, a reminder of the 4 years he'd spent mourning the woman he'd loved. The last woman who had tried to force her way into his life had left Crestmont with a broken arm and a reputation no one dared bring up anymore.
Does this woman have a death wish? Nobody goes after Mr. Westbrook and walks away in one piece.
200 witnesses, every single one watching. She's finished.
The ballroom held its breath. Caleb turned. He turned the signet ring against his thumb once. Slow, deliberate.
My child?
A faint, humorless smile touched his mouth.
Mrs. Locke, you've got nerve. No woman in Crestfield has ever shown up pregnant and claimed I was the father. I've heard about your reputation. I had no idea it had sunk this low. Picking a stranger out of the crowd at your own wedding?
The ring turned a second time. In the dead silence of the ballroom, the soft scrape sounded impossibly loud. A warning. Jordan seized the back of my neck and forced my head toward the floor.
Apologize to Mr. Westbrook. Now! Mr. Westbrook, I'm so sorry. She isn't herself. Please, just this once.
The fact that Jordan didn't even blink when I named another man as the father told me everything. He knew. He had always known. To him, the baby growing inside me had never been a child. Only leverage.
Mommy, don't be scared. If we can prove it, Daddy will protect us.
Proof? What proof? I didn't even know the man.
My parents were on me before I could finish the thought. Robert's hand, then Diane's. Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth.
Apologize to Mr. Westbrook. Now, do you want to drag the entire Locke family down with you?
Caleb stood over me. I was on my knees in a ruined wedding dress, blood dripping onto the hardwood floor, and the man who had spent one night with me looked at me as if I were something stuck to the bottom of his shoe. Then I remembered. I lifted my head, wiped the blood from my lip.
Mr. Westbrook, I've seen the rose-colored birthmark.
Caleb's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. The birthmark sat low on his abdomen, somewhere only an intimate partner would ever have seen it. The room didn't know what to make of that. Skylar noticed the confusion immediately and jumped in.
Summer, a birthmark? That's nothing. Anyone can make up a story about a birthmark. Do you have any idea how many women have tried that line on Mr. Westbrook over the years?
If you really want to prove that baby is his, why not take a paternity test? The guests immediately piled on.
Do the test! Shut her up!
Who does she think she is? Claiming she's carrying Mr. Westbrook's child at her own wedding?
Throw her out of Crestmont it!
Fine, we'll do the paternity test. Then we'll have the truth.
Inside my head, Teddy practically vibrated with excitement.
My mom is best. I see Daddy lose. Don't worry, Mommy. I teach you how to get Daddy.
By then, the disaster at the wedding had already spread across every gossip site, group chat, and social feed in Crestmont. The news reached Cornelius Westbrook. At 80 years old, he was still sharp as a razor and twice as intimidating. The possibility of a Westbrook heir had him moving faster than anyone thought possible. He swept into the private room while the family physician was drawing my blood. For the first time since arriving, he looked openly pleased.
Wonderful. I may actually get to hold a great-grandchild before I die.
Caleb stood by the window, his expression cold.
When this falls apart in 5 minutes, grandfather, I expect Ms. Locke to walk out of this room unharmed. Nothing more.
My parents had practically backed themselves into a corner, terrified the Lockes were about to be blacklisted by every influential family in Crestmont. Jordan looked sick. His bride was taking a paternity test for another man at his own wedding. Even if that man was Caleb Westbrook, the humiliation was impossible to ignore.
Mommy, lucky. Not marry him. Ow, needle hurt. But for Mommy, I be brave.
By the time the physician sealed the sample, my arms were mottled with bruises. Nearly 40 guests crowded the doorway. They watched with the hungry anticipation of an audience waiting to see someone publicly destroyed. I understood one thing with absolute clarity. If the test came back negative, I wouldn't survive what came next. Footsteps. Fast ones. Racing down the hallway. The door flew open. Derek burst into the room, pale as a sheet, an envelope clutched against his chest. He crossed straight to Caleb and leaned in to whisper something in his ear. For the first time in 5 years, Caleb's composure cracked. Cornelius slammed his cane against the floor.
What are you whispering about? Is it my great child rat? Or not? Out with it!
Behind him, Skylar let out a small laugh.
Does he even need to say it? There's no way that baby belongs to a Westbrook. My sister was obviously trying to...
Derek wiped the sweat from his forehead and turned toward the room.
Mrs. Locken's child is a 99.99% genetic match to Mr. Westbrook.
The room didn't gasp. It inhaled. Phones rose throughout the ballroom in a single shimmering wave. Live streams were already exploding across Crestmont. Every accusation that had been aimed at me, fraud, gold digger, crazy lock girl, died instantly. My mother's face drained of color. My father actually took a step backward, as though the ground beneath him had shifted. For one brief, unguarded second, Skylar's face twisted with jealousy and rage. Across the room, Caleb had been holding the same untouched champagne flute since before I refused to say my vows. The glass slipped from his fingers. It hit the hardwood floor and shattered. Caleb stared at me. For the first time all day, he looked genuinely shaken.
I don't even know this woman. How could I?
The paternity report. The birthmark only an intimate partner could have known about. The bride in the ruined wedding dress, kneeling at his feet. Something shifted behind Caleb's eyes. He remembered. 3 months ago. A bored dinner that had ended badly. An ambush in a hotel parking garage. The injuries he'd kept to himself. A glass of water at the bar he'd assumed was harmless. The hallway that had gradually blurred out of focus. A hotel room he didn't remember booking. And the next morning, waking up alone. Walking away convinced the whole thing had been some kind of fever dream. It hadn't been. Not a dream. A memory. He remembered everything but before he could even part his lips. The phone cameras locked onto us, and the first wave of vicious accusations detonated across the ballroom.
You slept with Caleb and still tried to pass his baby off as Jordan's? Do you have any idea how disgusting that is?
You've disgraced this family. Everything we've built, everything this family stands for. We raised you to be a lady, and this is what you've become.
The room came alive around her. If I was carrying Caleb Westbrook's child and had still been planning to marry Jordan Pierce, the conclusion wasn't hard to reach. The whispers turned vicious.
She landed the Pierce heir, then slept with Caleb behind his back. That's not a mistake. That's who she is.
At least the adopted sister knows how to behave. Married a respectable man, stays out of trouble.
She's trying to force her way into the Westbrook family with a baby. Cornelius would never allow it.
She's trash. Get her out of Crestmont. We have standards.
The voices grew louder. My father rose to his feet, pale as the white tablecloths. Then, in front of every camera in the room, he abandoned me.
The Locke family no longer has a daughter by that name. Get her out of my sight.
Skylar is our only daughter. She always has been.
Jordan stood by, silent and smug, watching me get torn apart by the crowd like a man enjoying a long-awaited revenge. Cornelius's cane slammed against the floor again, harder this time.
That is enough. Look at yourselves. A room full of high society elites acting like a pack of wolves on a young woman. Have you lost all sense of decency?
The room erupted. Cornelius glared at the crowd before fixing his eyes on me.
As long as Ms. Locke is carrying Westbrook blood, she is a member of this family. Period.
He then turned sharply.
Arthur, get her to the car. We're going home.
The butler nodded and stepped up to steady me. But by then, the suffocating stress and the toll of the pregnancy had left me completely drained. My vision blurred, my knees buckled, and I pitched forward. Before I could hit the floor, a pair of powerful arms caught me, effortlessly sweeping me off my feet and locking me against a broad chest. Caleb's face remained a cold, unreadable mask.
Don't flatter yourself. This doesn't mean I accept you.
He murmured, his voice low but steady.
But you're carrying my child, and you were my woman. I don't let anyone bully what's mine.
He turned, his sharp gaze cutting through the gossiping guests like a blade.
From this moment on, she is a Western.
Caleb announced to the entire ballroom, each word dripping with absolute authority.
If I hear so much as a single whisper against her, you'll answer to me personally. And trust me, you won't survive the fallout.
He carried me straight through the cameras. Past my parents. Past Skylar. Past Jordan, standing frozen with his mouth open and tears in his eyes for all the wrong reasons. The doors of the Wexley Grand Ballroom closed behind us with a heavy thud.
Mommy, Daddy fight whole town for us.
The leather seat of the SUV swallowed me whole. I let it. My hand throbbed. My lip throbbed. Every place the Locke family had left its mark on me ached. Caleb sat across from me in the rear of the SUV. He didn't look at me. He pulled out his phone and immediately made a call.
Cancel the flight. Reschedule it. We'll bring her in once she's back in the States.
Teddy practically exploded.
Mommy, that Vivon! Daddy canceled trip!
I kept my eyes on the window. Crestmont drifted by in shades of blue and amber. Storefronts. A church steeple. A woman pushing a stroller who would never know my name and wouldn't care if she did. Caleb ended the call and finally turned toward me. His expression was as cold as ever.
Just because you're carrying my child doesn't mean I'm going to marry you. I don't know what game you've been playing. I don't know how long you've been planning this. Getting into my car doesn't get you my last name.
I almost laughed. Almost.
I never wanted your last name.
I saw something shift behind his eyes. Just for a second. As though he had expected one kind of answer and gotten another.
I want to have my baby. I want him to grow up safe, that's all.
He studied me for a long moment. Long enough for the reflections of passing streetlights to flicker across his eyes. He didn't say a word.
Mommy, Daddy heart go fast. He like that you say no. Daddy confused.
I closed my eyes. The SUV rolled through the gates of the Westbrook estate. The driveway seemed to go on forever. Harrison was waiting at the front entrance, greeting me with the kind of polite bow that somehow managed to feel completely impersonal. I was shown to a suite. At some point, Caleb disappeared down another hallway. I didn't pay attention to where he went. The door closed behind me. I showered. Then I sat by the window in a room bigger than every apartment I'd ever rented put together and let the past replay in my head. Skylar at 18, wide-eyed and fragile on our front porch, arriving with nothing but a trash bag full of clothes. My mother's hand resting on her shoulder with a gentleness she had never shown me. The money that had disappeared from my wallet. Skylar crying as she handed it back to Diane in a quiet kitchen conversation I was never meant to overhear. By dinner, somehow, I was the thief. Jordan pulling away. So gradually I only noticed it in hindsight. A canceled lunch. A text answered 6 hours later. A laugh in a coffee shop at something Skylar had said. Diane suddenly deciding that the daughter she'd always wanted was the softer one. I took inventory of what I had left. My parents, gone. My friends, gone, because Skylar had gotten to them first with tears and carefully crafted stories. My reputation, currently being torn apart across every social platform in Crestmont. My fiancé, never really mine to begin with. What remained was my child and a man in a black suit who had told me 3 hours ago that I was a problem he intended to deal with.
Mommy, you have me, and you have Daddy. He just know yet.
Sweetheart, he hates me.
No, he's scared. But the other woman gets here tomorrow, so you need to be strong.
I pressed my forehead against the cold glass. Outside, the ground stretched into darkness beneath a moonless sky.
Baby?
Yes, Mommy?
There was a brief pause. Then, in a small but certain voice,
Mommy! She lands at JFK at 9:47 a.m.
I found myself in the breakfast room the next morning, my hair pulled back and dressed in a simple navy dress Harrison's wife had left folded on a chair for me. My reflection in the silver coffee pot looked exhausted. Caleb was already there, phone in hand. He didn't look up. A car pulled up outside. Tires crunched over gravel. A moment later, the front door opened. Vivian walked in with Milan perched on her shoulders. She was lightly tanned from a winter that had clearly been spent somewhere warmer than Crestmont. Her cream coat fit perfectly. She carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who had never doubted she belonged here. Caleb stood. Then he crossed the room toward her and smiled. It wasn't a big smile, but it was real. The first real smile I had ever seen on his face. Something inside me quietly took note of that and filed it away. Vivian kissed both of his cheeks. Then she slipped her hand through his arm with the easy familiarity of long history. Her gaze swept across the room and landed on me. Her smile never faltered.
Caleb, aren't you going to introduce me to your guest?
She's carrying my child. Vivian, this is Summer.
The silence that followed stretched for a beat too long. Then Vivian crossed the room toward me. Her heels barely made a sound. She took both of my hands in hers, gently, the way people do when they're comforting someone after a loss. Her eyes moved to the bruise on my cheek, then to the bandage on my hand.
Oh, sweetheart. Whatever happened to you, you're safe here. The Westbrooks are good people. I should know.
I said nothing. There was nothing in that statement that required an answer. Vivian's smile remained perfectly in place.
I'm sure Caleb and I will figure out what to do about the baby. You have nothing to worry about.
Mommy, she just called us a problem to solve.
Vivian turned my bandaged hand over in hers and examined it. Not like a concerned friend, like someone evaluating an object before deciding whether it was worth keeping. Her voice dropped slightly, just enough for me to hear. The smile never left her face.
You really sold that performance in the ballroom, didn't you? Truly impressive.
The car came up the drive at 3 in the afternoon, and I knew before Harrison announced her who it would be. Skylar stepped out in white linen, hair pinned back, hand cupped beneath her belly. The picture of a young mother visiting family. Vivian met her on the front steps. They embraced the way old finishing schoolgirls embrace, cheek, a small private laugh. Cornelius, beside me at the library window, set his teacup down with more weight than it needed.
I didn't invite her.
I know.
She walks in here like she owns the gravel.
He didn't have her thrown out. His mouth went tight in the way it did when he was banking a decision for later. By 4, Harrison was distributing the evening's instructions. Black tie, 8 sharp, 40 guests from the oldest names in Crestmont. 3 reporters with cameras dressed as brooches.
A welcome neater for Miss Langford.
He said it without warmth. He said it loud enough for the staff and any uninvited guest in the orangery to hear. I went looking for Skylar before I changed. I found her in the orangery hallway alone, examining a hothouse orchid like she'd grown it herself. The mask came off the moment she saw me. She didn't even bother with the smile.
I have a second paternity report being run as we speak. The technician owes a friend a favor.
Skylar.
The report will say 0 Westbrook DNA in your baby. By the time anyone bothers running a third test,
You'll be thrown out of this house in front of half the town. Cameras and all.
She said it the way other women discuss a hair appointment.
Mommy, she means it. Tell Daddy right now.
No, sweetheart. I handle this myself.
I kept my face still. I had spent 4 years keeping my face still.
You've been busy.
I have a lot of time. Marcus travels.
Heels clicked behind me. Vivian, in cream silk, slid an arm through Skylar's like they had been waiting for me to leave.
There you are, darling. We have so much to catch up on tonight.
She smiled at me over Skylar's shoulder. Warm, bright, a small private promise. Then she walked my foster sister away down the corridor of my husband's ancestral home. Harrison's wife came up the back stairs with the green silk over her arm and refused, gently, to let me dress myself.
Sit, Mrs. Westbrook. Miss Locken is fine. Not in this house tonight, it isn't.
She pinned my hair up the old way, off the neck. She brushed powder over the place where the bruise on my cheek was finally yellowing out. She didn't ask about it. She had been the one who brought me ice the morning after the wedding. When she was done, the woman in the mirror looked like a person who had been raised expecting cameras. Play the part, just for tonight. The knock at the door was Caleb. I knew before I opened it. He had a particular weight to his knuckles. He looked at me. His eyes paused for half a second on the cheek that wasn't quite healed. He didn't say anything about it.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
Stay close to grandfather tonight. Vivienne is showing claws.
I noticed.
Skylar arrived without invitation.
I noticed that too.
He stood in the doorway a beat too long. Something in his face wanted to move. The signet ring on his right hand turned once against his palm.
Summer.
Yes.
He didn't finish the sentence. He stepped back into the corridor.
8 o'clock. I'll come for you.
He didn't come for me. At 10 of 8, I went down on my own. Cornelius was already in the foyer, leaning on his cane, in a dinner jacket that was older than I was. He offered me his arm without a word and tucked my hand under his elbow like a man bracing a sail. Above us, on the curved landing of the grand stair, Skylar was leaning over the banister. White silk, diamond at the throat, belly cupped. She waited until I looked up at her.
Summer. Skylar. I've placed you near the door.
She smiled, slow.
Easier to walk out when it's over.
The ballroom had been set for 40. Crystal down the long table like a river of light. 3 chandeliers. The Wexley silver. 2 of the reporters were inside already, their cameras pinned as brooches at their collarbones, pretending to admire the centerpieces. The seating chart was a battlefield map. Cornelius at the head. Me at his right hand. Caleb at his left. Vivian next to Caleb. Skylar 4 chairs down on the opposite side, beside her husband Marcus Vance, who had flown in that afternoon from Singapore and looked like a man who had not yet slept. Robert and Diane Locke were further down still. My parents would not meet my eyes. They had not spoken to me since the altar. The soup came. The fish came. The talk was careful. At the entree, Vivian stood, glass raised. The room hushed for her the way rooms do for beautiful women with timing.
To Caleb, to Cornelius, to the continuation of a great family.
She smiled down the table at me like a sister.
I would never doubt Caleb's word. He has always been a man of perfect honor. And I am, of course, delighted that the Westbrook line continues.
Glasses lifted. Mine lifted with them.
Medical science will speak for itself. In fact,
a small laugh. Charming. Self-deprecating.
I'd love for us all to hear what the second test says. I understand one has just come back.
40 heads turned, perfectly on cue, to Skylar. Skylar produced a white envelope from beside her bread plate. Crisp. Lab letterhead, visible to the cameras. She stood with the small reluctance of a woman forced into a duty.
I didn't want to bring it tonight. But the family deserves the truth.
She broke the seal, unfolded the page. The room did not breathe.
Westbrook DNA, 0%. Match, none.
It cracked.
Cornelius's hand closed around the stem of his wine glass. It cracked. A thin red line traced down across his knuckles onto the linen. He did not look down. Caleb did not move. Skylar slid the folder across the white cloth to me.
Summer, read it for yourself. We all want to hear you read it.
Mommy, pick it up. Pick it up slow.
Don't scroll away. Click the video link to download Drama Box. Watch all episodes now.